All right, here we go.
Cannon up. Don't
Cannon
get
up.
scared now.
Still got a long way to go.
Yep. E.T. was the ultimate, so we already ate that frog.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I'll say that.
Okay, great.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. One, two, three, click.
Click.
One, two, three, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap.
Great. Hey everyone, Steven here. At the time of this recording, the Writers Guild of America is still on strike. You know what that means. I'm still on strike. I'm not writing
Mm-hmm.
cold opens. Solidarity, baby. Universal, get your act together. The Gomer Nation is going to get mad at me pretty soon. Anyway, instead, here's a selection from a list I found on the internet of the top 25 movies with cold open action scenes.
Mm.
A list that today's movie is number one on. Here are some other ones. The Matrix. Real good. Lord of
Mm-hmm.
the Rings, The Two Towers.
Mm-hmm.
That part where Gandalf was falling. Remember that?
Yep, totally.
Um, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. I actually really like that cold open.
Oh yeah. Yep.
They're
Oh yeah,
rescuing
that's cool.
the Emperor. Um, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Just watched this movie last night. Tom Cruise hanging off the side of a plane. Incredible.
Sweet.
True Lies. I think that's a horse in an elevator. The Dark Knight in the bank.
Oh yeah.
Speed.
Oh yeah.
Know what's the same about each of these scenes? Besides they rule. AI didn't write any of them. Go to
Mm.
wjacontract2023.org to learn more so we can keep getting super cool, great action cold opens. We're the two Gomers. We're talking Raiders of the Lost Ark, and this is Perfect Movie.
Welcome, everybody, to Perfect Movie, a podcast where two regular guys try to save the universe, one great film at a time. This is Anthony speaking, one of those two aforementioned Gomers coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, with my friend Steven, all the way out in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Canon Ep.
Totally. Hey, to add to that, what you said
Yeah,
earlier,
yeah.
cause and effect from season 5 of Star Trek The Next Generation. Another cold open action scene that you're like, what? And then the music comes in.
Uh-huh.
So good. Have you watched
I
that one yet?
uh-uh. No, I'm not there yet. I last night I watched Measure of a Man.
You did.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um I'm just so you know, I'm not sure Jessica's gonna join me for the rest of this journey.
That's okay. Did she think it was super dumb?
No, it's not dumb. I just think, like you said, it is slow.
It
And it's
is.
like a lot of just it's like a lot of scenes just in a room, a carpeted
Yep.
room
Yep.
with different furniture in it.
Uh-huh.
So we watched Measure of a Man last night, which is a whole episode about whether Data's a person or not, which is incredible, great stuff.
Person or
But
property.
I just don't think that she's connecting with the aesthetic, which is a big
Yeah.
deal.
I get it.
Um, so anyways, I was gonna also say Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan has a great action cold open, right?
Yup. For
With a
sure.
twist.
Yup.
Um,
Totally.
so I actually think it's more than just in media res, starting in an action scene. I think a good cold open action scene is sort of separated from the rest of the movie. So
Yeah,
there's a
like,
time jump afterwards, or there's a
yep.
twist in it, or something. And we'll get to this probably, but Raiders, I mean, there's a reason why it's number one on that list because you just cannot beat it. And we're going to be saying that so much, I think, in this episode.
Totally. A cold open is almost an episode in and of itself, right? A
That's right.
full episode.
Yep. And I think it's done incredibly. And there's so many copies of it and
Mm-hmm.
attempts to replicate the magic that happens
Yep.
in Indiana Jones movies in general around those kinds of things.
Right.
This one in particular, the cold open, that I don't know. It's hard to talk about Raiders, which we're gonna do, because what hasn't been said about it?
Well, we haven't talked about it yet in length.
No, that's right. I mean,
So,
obviously we've mentioned
dude.
it over and over again. And I was listening to our the Firm episode
Hmm.
that just re-released on the main feed, and the Firm for us was a pivot. We had something else in mind and we couldn't do it, and we were thinking about Raiders and we were like, we can't.
Can't. Too
We
good.
couldn't just do it.
It's too important.
Right. Now the Firm, we could just do that one and it's a great app.
Yeah, I would do another firm app right
Yeah,
now.
can we redo the Firm?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm so much less nervous about this. We
Mm,
ate the frogs of Empire and ET,
that's right.
and by doing that and Back to the Future,
Mm-hmm.
like in doing some of those makes this like this because this is up there with those,
Yeah.
and now I'm not worried about it anymore.
It is a little Anthony's Halloween candy where would we ever do it?
Right.
But I think that because we did a ET, this is my theory about you. Because we
Hmm.
did ET, you're able to do anything else from that.
Yep. Totally.
With
That's
a
absolutely it.
little warning, right? I mean, we didn't just decide we're going to do Raiders. We've been thinking, we've had a couple months to think about this app.
Right. Yeah. That's just the way you and I function.
Yep.
Like if I told you tomorrow, let's do I don't know, one of your favorite movies, you'd be like, done.
Hmm.
And if you said that, I'd be like, can't.
There still is a little bit of that, sure.
Can't.
Like, because even on the Firm, I was like, I could probably do Raiders, and you're like, no,
No, I can't.
we can't just decide to do
Yeah.
Raiders of the
So
1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark, starring
right.
Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones.
So what is that? Do I like to I mean, I know I like to prepare,
Yeah.
but also I am I less spontaneous or something? I don't know, because
No, because
you're
when you say you
really
want to
organized. You're Yeah.
here's what I think. You're not saying you want to prepare like intellectually and get your ducks in a row so that you
Yeah.
have enough information. You like to prepare like emotionally
Mm-hmm.
for this kind of thing.
Totally. I wonder if you could spring one on me sometime. That would be a fun thing to do, actually, to have a mystery app and be like, it's tomorrow.
Oh, and not tell the other person what it is?
Yeah, like on Smart Lists, they just have like a mystery guest.
I don't know that, but that sounds cool.
You
Somebody will
like
just
they
come in as a
describe
cool guest.
Well, yeah, they'll describe the guest. One of the hosts does the research.
Uh-huh.
The other two don't know who it's gonna be.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, oh, it's Steven Spielberg.
Okay, well that would be cool.
I mean, they, like we talk about talking about Steven Spielberg. They talk
Yeah.
to Steven Spielberg. Dang it.
Yeah. It's all right. We'll never get there. But that's all right. We're us. We're just us, and we're as God made us, and we're fine with it.
Oh yeah, dude. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't even know what to say if I talked to Steven Spielberg. I'd be like, I love your movies.
Mm,
Your characters have meant a ton to me,
mm-hmm.
and your collaboration with John Williams rules. Thanks
Mm-hmm.
so much. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's it.
I'd have a lot of questions about Temple of Doom. Did he
Okay.
fall in love with his wife on Temple of Doom? I think he did.
Yeah, I think he was divorced at that time or had just gone through, because I was watching George Lucas and Steven Spielberg talk about this,
Yeah.
and either one or both of them had gotten divorced during or right before Temple of Doom, and that's
Uh-huh.
why it was so weird and dark.
I think
That's
it's
what
George
Lucas said.
Lucas. I think he and Marcia got right. I think he and Marcia were divorced right before then, and that's why it was kind of dark.
Oh, okay.
And Spielberg was
Okay.
falling in love with Kate Capshaw.
Mm-hmm. Of Space Camp.
Best role, Space Camp. I mean, way
Mm-hmm.
better than what's her name in Temple of Doom? Willie.
Mm-hmm.
Way better in
Yep.
Space Camp.
Yep. Totally.
Okay, but we're not here to talk about Temple of Doom. We
Right,
will
right.
talk
That's
about Temple
next
of
time.
Doom, right? But today we're tackling Raiders of the Lost Ark, tackling, embracing
Mm.
Caressing.
That was weird. Adoring,
Yes, marveling.
admiring.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So, Raiders, I think we have a delay shoot. I think our
Do
delay
we?
just got really long. Yeah. Hold on. Let me write this down. Here, can we clap again?
Yep.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap.
Oh man.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap.
Yeah, that's longer.
Dang it.
Let's just keep going. It'll line up.
It's not our fault. We can't do anything about it.
Can't do anything about it. We just gotta we soldier on.
Right. Do I have another verb that we're doing? Oh yeah. Commiserating.
Well, not commiserating. That's about something bad, right? If you're
Oh
commiserating
yeah.
with someone. Um, maybe that could be Temple of Doom. Even though I've come around on Temple of Doom.
Yep. Well, Temple of Doom is me having a sleepover at Michael Davis and David Passanetti and
Mm,
Brian Koscielniak. I mean, that's neighborhood. That's Monticello biking gang,
mm,
like sleepover lore.
right.
So when I think of Temple of Doom, I love it.
So I wasn't even allowed to watch Temple of Doom when I
Right.
was little.
Yep.
And of course, in today's movie, I had to close my eyes at the end.
what
Like,
what
oh,
did yeah, did this play into any of your Old Testament like information, like education?
no, I mean, there was, I do have, as part of an evidence, I do have something that gets to that. Um,
Okay.
I, and I think we have talked about the fact that the better Indiana Jones movies always are Bible based,
Yep, biblical.
right? Um, so no, but I would have to say no, I wasn't educated by Indiana
Right.
Jones.
Action pictures from a biblical perspective.
So, I do remember, I think, watching a scene in Sunday school in
Ah,
in high school at our church. We
okay.
watched a scene
Oh,
of this movie.
at High Point.
Yeah, when we were talking about Moses or something. Um,
I actually think the arc is
mhm.
really beautiful looking.
And the arc is accurate to the
Yeah.
biblical description of it. And it
Uh-huh.
is, yeah, you're right. It's a really cool replication of that artifact. It's awesome.
Yep. I think the prop is beautiful.
Yeah,
You can't touch
amazing
it
prop.
though. That's the thing.
Can't touch that thing, as MC Hammer said. Um,
Right.
but wouldn't it be awesome to buy that prop and put it in your living room?
Wow.
That'd be cool.
Yep. That
Just
would
don't
be
open
super
it,
cool. Don't open it. And if you do,
or
don't look at it.
don't look at it. So Raiders of the Lost Ark, like we said, we're a canon episode, but we're looking forward to it. Um, I I think I would love to get right into it. Do you have the
Yep.
one sheet
Hmm.
at the ready?
I do. All right. Raiders of the Lost Ark
Hmm.
opened on June 12th, 1981. So that would have been 2. You would have been 3. So we
Yeah,
didn't see this in the theaters, right?
I'm not seeing many movies in the theaters in
Yeah.
1981. No. Do you
Right.
remember when you saw it first?
It's possible that I saw Temple of Doom before this.
Okay, yep.
That's
It's a Star
actually
Wars thing where I think I
yep,
saw Jedi first before
right.
fully watching Star Wars.
Yep, I just remember the Boston Pop CD,
Okay.
sleepovers with the
Mm-hmm.
Monticello biking gang, and
Mm-hmm.
Temple of Doom. I think I watched this after that.
Well, then you watched them in chronological order, so great job.
Really?
Yeah. Temple of Doom's a
Temple of Doom
prequel.
is early.
Yep.
Oh, well, no, don't want to look stupid.
No, mostly you wouldn't know that unless you look at the date at the beginning. Um,
Okay.
and I hear that they did that as a prequel because people liked Marion so much that they
Ah,
didn't want to deal with what happened to Marion.
okay.
And so they said it earlier so that they could say, "Hey, he just hasn't met her yet."
Well, he had met her.
Oh, that's true.
It
As
was
a
just
younger man,
between, right?
um, yeah, that's a good point. He hadn't met her. So where is she? We already know he
If
did her
only they had
dirty.
passed, yeah, passed by her on at that pub in Nepal.
Right. No, they flew over them in the
Yeah,
inflatable boat, right?
yeah,
That they jump out of the
yeah,
plane with.
right.
You see Marion looking up like, what's that boat?
Yeah, just that. That would have been cool. Okay, runtime for this movie comes in at 155, one
Great
hour
length.
55. Wow,
Great length.
amazing. I
Yep.
actually didn't think. I thought it was going to be 210.
Mm-hmm.
Budget $18 million. Gross
Mm-hmm.
at the box office 248 million US, 389 million worldwide. Huge hit.
That's a hit. If you're making, what is that, 20 times what you
Mm-hmm.
spent, that's a hit.
Yeah, and I mean that's over $1 billion in today's bucks.
Yeah, and I wonder how much the franchise has
Mm.
made. When you think about that, like when you think about Star Wars, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like because of all the
Oh
TV
yeah.
shows, Marvel the same, TV shows, toys, things like that. I bet it would be easier to figure out with Indiana Jones, but still you've got toys, rides,
Oh yeah. Lunch boxes,
right?
jackets, fedoras,
Mm-hmm.
whips.
Think of
You
all the
know,
whips that were
zip
sold.
heads,
Whip heads.
dweebs. Uh, yep. Okay, but still amazing. Put
Mm-hmm.
Lucas and Williams, well, Lucas and Williams, duh, but Lucas and Spielberg together.
Yeah.
You're gonna make some boku bucks.
Yep.
Um, Academy Awards. It won for one art direction, set decoration, best sound,
Mm.
best film editing. Michael Kahn. Remember, I went to a
Mm-hmm.
wedding with that guy.
No, I mean I'm sure you've told this story. You went to a whose
Yeah.
wedding?
So my
Steven Spielberg
friend,
and Kate Capshaw.
yeah, my friend Aaron, who plays bass, we used to be in the Florida Orchestra together. He's in the
Another
Pittsburgh
Aaron.
Symphony now.
Another Aaron
Yeah,
enters the fray.
dude, I have so many Aaron friends,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I mean, clearly the best Aaron in the whole wide world. I'm married to,
Sure.
Erin.
Right.
But then my college roommate was Aaron, Ehren,
Okay.
and then
Wow.
pastor in Florida was Pastor Aaron Burke. My
Mm-hmm.
buddy Aaron White from the Pittsburgh Symphony, the Aaron Rosenbaum,
Mr. Aaron.
Mr. Aaron.
Mm-hmm. And now here's Aaron, the bass player that you went
Yep.
to Michael Kahn's wedding with.
No. Okay, so Aaron married our friend Rachel. They were both our
Uh-huh.
friends, and then they got married.
Okay.
And I went to their wedding in Pittsburgh, and he was like, "Hey, do you see that guy over there? He's a friend of Rachel's parents." I'm like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "That's Michael Kahn."
Wow.
And I was like, I knew that name immediately. I was like, "Wait, Mike, like Spielberg's main editor for like 40
That's
years?"
incredible.
Yeah, so I had a really nice conversation with him. It was great. We
Yeah.
talked about he was like, "Yeah, then Johnny comes in, brings his music and we cut it to
Jeez.
that." Yeah, I was like I was like nerding out so bad. But like I just think so he won an Academy Award for this.
Yep.
That is Cran's dream job to me, editing.
To edit a movie like this or editing in general,
Editing
because
in
there's
general.
so much stuff.
Yeah. I mean, imagine somebody sends you hundreds of hours of dailies
Mm-hmm.
from at least 3 cameras each
Mm-hmm.
with audio that needs to get synced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how
No
on
score yet.
no score. You got sometimes temp scores, and then you
Yeah.
have directors and
Mm-hmm.
people giving you notes, and you've got actors giving you notes, and like make
Yeah.
sure to take that take. This is my good side. That's my bad side. If you put that
Yeah.
in, like I'll be mad.
And Raiders of the Lost Ark is one thing. What about like Mrs. Doubtfire, where he
Oh,
apparently
oh,
recorded like 180 hours of
yeah,
rated R
right.
improvisation?
Totally.
Robin
I just
Williams,
think
give it a rest for that editor.
I just think editing is the unsung hero of movie making. We've said that before, but like,
Definitely.
you know, they say the movie's made in writing and then on the
Mm-hmm.
set and then in the edit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Good job, Michael Kahn.
sweet. All right. Also won the Academy Award for Best Effects, Visual Effects,
Yeah.
and nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematography, and Best Score, but didn't win for any of those.
Best Picture
Yeah,
is incredible to me, and I
that
love
is.
that.
I love that too. That Pertner to Crystal Skull didn't get that.
No, you're not going
Actually,
to get that with Crystal Skull. I wonder about
yeah.
Dial of Destiny, but we know Partner to Crystal Skull didn't get any Best Picture love.
Well, but actually, Last Crusade is that was a bad example because Crystal Skull was eh, but Last
Yeah.
Crusade is actually incredible. But that wouldn't get There's no way that would have gotten nominated.
No,
I feel like
yeah, that's
now, right?
interesting. Like, so I was reading about Everywhere, Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Mm-hmm.
and the anomaly of that in recent years that it won Best Picture and made money.
Ah,
And
huh.
they seem to in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s actually a lot more movies got nominated that were popular,
Hmm.
like popular cultural hits. And now I think you
Yeah.
look at the even the list of nominees and you don't even know what five of them are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and almost none of them made any money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the last time a Best Picture winner made money was Slumdog Millionaire, which was like 15, 20 years ago now. It's insane.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
something has shifted where I love when you see a Raiders get a you look back and it got a Best Picture nomination. It gives me goosebumps. I love that. Because
That's
it's
so awesome.
perfect.
It's so perfect. I mean, this is on so many people's lists of perfect
Yeah.
movies, of top 100 movies, of,
Yep.
absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
then now put score, because what
Mm-hmm.
one was Chariots of Fire.
Okay, right. And we talked about that on the Chariots of Fire app.
Yeah. But
Mm-mm.
revisit that for 1 second.
Mm-mm.
This is way better, dude.
Too much synth.
Yeah, I mean, I love that movie. Like, I mean, that's a rewatch for me, big time. I actually probably rewatched that lately more than this because it's a little bit more on the chill side and a little bit more inspirational for me.
Right, definitely.
And I love that. I do love the score, but I mean, it's not even. I mean,
No,
this is
no, you cannot compare these two scores.
no.
The Chariots of Fire song has lasted
Yep.
has had lasting power. What was the
Yes.
who's I can't remember the composer's
Vangelis.
name. Vangelis.
Yeah.
Right. But the sound of it is so 1981,
Yeah.
and well, I'm sure we'll talk more about the score, but
Yeah.
the richness and fullness of this score. I mean, you cannot compare the two.
No. I mean, the opening sequence, the cold open, great bassoon
Mm,
and flute. One of the best bassoon, flute, or even just bassoon parts in any Williams score.
yeah.
It's
Mm.
just great.
And I can't hear any bassoon in Vangelis's score.
Mm-mm. Nope, maybe a synth bassoon.
That's right.
Okay, a couple other things from the one sheet.
Mm,
To be honest, when I did the box office mojo on this bad boy,
yeah.
first of all, Indiana Jones is number one.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of those that we do, but this one, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Superman 2,
Yeah.
big deal,
Yep.
but, and Chariots of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
All the other ones I haven't seen, dude. I
There,
haven't seen most of these.
there's a couple of these I've never even heard of. So
Yeah, and
on
this is
Golden
box
Pond, I've
office
heard of that.
mojo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Arthur, heard of it. Stripes, I've seen it. Cannonball Run, nope. For Your Eyes Only, probably. That's a James Bond
Is
movie.
that Bond? Yeah.
Yeah. The Four Seasons, never heard of it.
Nope.
Time Bandits is on my list, but I've never seen it. Absence of Malice, what's that?
It wasn't that a band?
No,
There,
you're
there
thinking
was
of what's Cassandra's band?
Crucial Taunt.
You're thinking of Crucial Taunt.
No, no, no. There was a band in our high school. It was Switsky. I think it was Switsky. Their band was Absence of Malice.
Could it be
I
that
think.
this movie is about that? No, wait, that doesn't work timeline
You're right.
wise. It's
I'm
a
sure
cool name, I
they
guess, but I don't know what the movie
stole
is.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So, anyways, the Box Office Mojo didn't actually do a whole ton. Uh, Rotten Tomatoes, 93% critic, 96%
Mm,
audience.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and then just a couple other things. Just actually, you know what? We're going to talk about the writers and director when we get there. Never mind.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
I'm seeing this other
Oh,
cast choice at the bottom.
oh, actually, yes. Let's talk other cast choices real quick. This is a
Okay.
great place for that.
All right.
So, the person that they wanted for this, people probably have seen this because this is one of those. Did you know that?
Uh-huh.
But the person they really wanted, because George Lucas didn't want Harrison Ford to be like his muse. He was like, I already had him in Star Wars.
Right.
I don't want him because Spielberg wanted Harrison Ford. Lucas was like, no, I don't want him to be my muse. I don't want him to be my whatever,
Yeah.
like
Like
because
the
Nolan
guy,
always
my
has the same
go-to
people.
guy.
Yeah, Ford Coppola has his own people,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually don't think that's bad.
I like it.
Yeah, you're like when you're watching a Nolan movie, you're like, there's that guy again,
Yep. Yep.
like Oppenheimer.
Yes.
You know,
What's the guy's name? That
I
guy that
can't think.
looks that just has that look,
He's
right?
got that look, that
I've got to look him
Nolan
up
look.
because I just saw a movie with him in it. Oh, he's in 28 Days Later, which I just watched for the first time. And I was like, this guy? What's his
Right.
name?
Just look up
Anyways, okay, go
Oppenheimer.
on. They didn't want Harrison Ford. And so who is it
Okay.
that they wanted?
Tom Selleck,
Tom Selleck. Now this is
the master of the mustache.
here's where I'm gonna bring out something I want to show you.
Ooh.
I've got one of these.
Oh
So
yeah.
I showed
Oh,
this. I showed my back to it's a big coffee table Indiana Jones making of book. I've got one
yep.
for Back to the Future. Listen to this. It's big. It makes a
Wow.
noise. Back to the Future. I've got one for Close Encounters and Dark Crystal, movies that are important to me. So
Wow.
I've got pictures in here of
Mm-hmm.
Tom Selleck, and I'll tell you what, he looks like a real jerk.
He looks like he's signing up for 3 Men and a Baby.
I know. Go back to Three Men and a Baby. Well, the reason he didn't do this was because he was doing Magnum PI, right? Is
Yep.
that right?
It
And so
is.
he just
It is.
couldn't. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see these pictures of Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones. Can you see that?
Well, I mean, but those are dumb, bro. I've seen that video. Like those okay, those are I mean, those are great. But like that stupid set, that's like with a flash, like snappy Q camera. You know
I
what I
knew
mean?
you were gonna push back on this.
Like that's not even fair.
He's got a blue button-down shirt and sort of an Indiana Jones hat.
I know. It look and
And
have
he
you
looks like
watched that?
he's just in some restaurant in Burbank.
Yeah. Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so
Like
dumb.
it sounds terrible. It looks terrible. And honestly, I don't even know how like a casting director gets any information from that anyways.
Mm-mm. I mean,
You know
it
what I
must
mean?
play different live. You know what I mean? But you
Sure.
see these videos and you're like,
Yeah.
how does something like that starts with that turn into the final
Yeah.
product of Raiders of the Lost Ark? It's insane.
Oh, I mean, how does Jake Lloyd like, with glottal fry end up as Anakin,
Well,
right?
that's a question for another time.
I mean, yeah, so I guess the story that I heard was that and he's a very handsome man.
Yep.
I mean, Magnum PI, like, so the story that I heard is that CBS had him slated for Magnum PI.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he couldn't do it,
Yep.
and apparently the fact that Lucas and Spielberg wanted him made Magnum PI get greenlit,
Yeah.
or made him because they're like, oh,
It upped
they
his
want
cred,
to,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
But then apparently there was a strike. I don't know if it was writer's strike or some
Mm.
movie strike, and so they didn't even end up doing Magnum PI in the time allowed. So he
Oh,
actually
yeah,
could have
that's
done
right.
this.
He just missed out. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, but then we don't get 3 Men and a Baby.
That's true. So it all worked out.
He's very he's very manly and
Yeah.
like the ladies wanted him in 3 Men and a Baby. I'm trying
Oh
to think of a
boy.
great adjective.
He was the hunkiest, I would say, of the three. I
Yep.
think Ted Danson's probably the most like strikingly handsome. Then you've got
Right.
Gutenberg. He's out of the he's out of the running
What's this guy doing
completely.
over there?
Right? He's kind of the comic relief of the three.
Yep. Right.
But just Selleck, I think what I mean, all the way through when he was like on Friends,
Oh, right.
it was like it was like he had this walk in the room and people like women were fainting. So he was handsome
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
is handsome. But compared to Harrison Ford in this movie, when Harrison Ford comes in
Yep.
and you see him for the first time, you're like, I think this is the best looking human I've ever
Yep.
seen. Like, he looks so good in this movie, and it was the right choice. And I'm relieved.
100%. There's your evidence right there.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of Two Gomers, midlife chat. He was 38 and 39 years old now
What?
when he's filming this. This
Are you
is
serious? I
between
thought he
his
would be
38 and
way
39.
younger.
No, dude. So that's awesome.
Wow. Incredible. But and he really he really does look incredible in this movie. But I just want to show you, I just turned one page back in this thing, and I just want to show you this picture right here.
Wow.
I mean, we were talking a little bit about this. I can't remember on some results show that
Yep.
when I was a kid, I was like, I don't get Marion Ravenwood.
Right.
And some of these, I just showed you kind of a glamour shot of what's her name? Allen, Karen Allen.
Oh, Karen Allen. Yeah.
And her and Harrison Ford, it's like they burn up the screen.
Yep. Absolutely beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, we were way too young to even understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But like the white dress, you were like, oh, that's funny. Haha. Now you're like, wow.
Or
Like,
even
this
like
looks so
the scene in the
amazing.
submarine when you're like, oh, gross, I don't like the scene.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Silky lingerie. Ew.
What hurts? And he's pointing all over his body.
Oh my god.
Now I'm like, keep pointing, bro.
I go, dude. Hey, wait. I have a stricken real quick before we go into
Okay.
this.
Wow, a stricken.
Okay.
Because I was gonna say, I want to give people a heads up. I don't know if I can think of anything in this movie that doesn't work for me.
Sure.
But that's
I have.
different than a stricken, and so I want to hear your stricken.
Oh yeah, I have a stricken just that I thought of last night. Okay,
Okay.
so Marion Ravenwood, she can drink people under the table, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, she's got that mountain vodka, whatever that is, at the beginning,
Yep.
when she's drinking with Norm.
What do you mean,
No,
Norm?
no, I'm thinking like Cheers.
Oh, I
Like,
see. Because I remember thinking when I was little that she was drinking against a woman, that person was a woman she was in a
oh,
competition with.
oh,
I don't
okay,
think that that's true, but for
no,
some reason, for most of my life, I thought it was her versus a very kind of like big,
okay,
bulky woman.
yeah,
I
yep.
don't know why. I want listener, if anybody else thought that, it's a curiosity of mine. Did anybody else think that she was in a drink off with a woman?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so she can drink people under the table.
Mm-hmm.
Now she is drinking with Belloc, right?
Belloc. Yep.
Belloc. And they drink his family label, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole like, so she tries to escape with a knife.
Yep.
She's wearing the white dress. They
Mm-hmm.
put her in the temple of whatever it is with the snakes.
Why'd they have to be snakes? Yeah.
Right. Yep. Best line.
Mm.
And so basically, here's my stricken is that she's wasted.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
like they drink, although, but maybe she's not. But
She's
here's what I'm
not.
saying: if
I don't
no,
think
but
she
here,
is. I think she's pretending, right?
yeah, she drank a lot, a lot. Here's all I'm saying, and this happens in the movies all the time. This happens in the one of the seasons of 24. The
Yeah.
very first episode of one of the seasons of 24, Kiefer Sutherland,
Is drunk.
whatever is, it drinks a whole bottle of vodka. So that means
Yeah.
the entire day, like
Yep.
he should be useless.
Gotcha. Jack
And
Bauer is his name.
yeah, stupid. Sorry, but
No,
what I'm saying
I
is,
only
if
remember
any,
that because Jack Bauer and Jack Shepard were an influence on naming our second
Oh
child.
yeah. Yeah, yes. Love it. If anybody has ever had a few drinks and you get your heart's beating and you feel horrible,
Yeah.
then imagine going through the whole last act of Indiana Jones feeling thusly.
Okay.
That's my only stricken is because she's no effect whatsoever.
Okay, so can I push back a little bit? I
Sure.
think the drinking under the table scene at the bar in the beginning is to establish the fact that she is so good at drinking
Right.
that that's her plan with Belloc,
Yep. Totally.
um, to fool him. But how many drinks do you think they had? Probably like 20. But
He
they
drank
drank that whole bottle.
that whole bottle. That's so you're absolutely right. That's why it doesn't really work. But I was just
Mm.
thinking of it last night.
Okay, gotcha.
And I was like, just that it's one of those things that in one scene of a movie somebody eats a ton of food or drinks a
Yep.
ton of alcohol, and then in the next scene they're totally fine.
Uh-huh.
It's just sort of a continuity thing. I don't know. It's just something I
Gotcha.
was thinking last night.
I think that this is a movie, and we've talked about this before. I think maybe even with Empire, where it's so good
Yep.
that you don't care. So there's this part where
Oh, I
they're
don't
down
care.
right after the snakes thing, they bust through a wall, and then they just come out of a door, right onto
Yeah.
the flight pad, and you're like, well, you could have gotten to the Lost Ark through that cave.
I
that you
know
just
that
came out of.
super loose brick right behind
Right.
that was the Ark
Yep.
of the Covenant for thousands of years.
But
Totally.
I don't care at all. I love it.
Yeah.
He swims from that boat to the submarine,
Yeah.
and then apparently the submarine drives him all the way to Italy,
They never go underwater ever.
and he's a little bit wet. Don't care.
Totally. Yeah, I'm with you on all that. Don't care.
Cillian Murphy is the name of the guy of Christopher
Right.
Nolan's guy. Cannot wait for Oppenheimer. Give it to me now.
too.
All right,
He's
here's the
son
back.
in Inception. Sorry, I was getting all
Inception.
sporty.
Is he an Interstellar at all? I don't think he is.
Nope.
But Michael Caine was also,
Yep.
he's also a Nolan guy.
Yep.
Where you just see
Totally.
Michael Caine in Inception, and Interstellar, and you're like, I'm home in this
Yep.
Christopher Nolan movie. Okay,
Totally.
let me read the back of the box. I'm going to read the 1989 reissue of Raiders of the Lost Ark on VHS because it's the one I owned.
Okay.
We got in a 3-pack. It was when Last Crusade came out. And so I recognize this VHS, and so I'm going to read it. And I just want to warn you, it might be the dumbest back of the box I've ever read. Here we go. It says, "This is it!" exclamation point. Harrison Ford and filmmaker Steven Spielberg and George Lucas team in the first Indiana Jones movie and set the whirlwind tone for Indy's adventure to come. Okay, so far so good. Now listen to this part. Here, you'll find archaeologist Jones up to his neck in danger and snakes alive up to his kneecaps in squirming reptiles. Then in italics, it says, "Indy hates snakes!" 2 exclamation points. Wait, we're not done. He hates Nazis too, and he'll stop at nothing to keep those goose-stepping goons from obtaining the mystical Ark of the Covenant. Hang on and enjoy. Now hold on. Goose-stepping goons is how they describe Nazism in this. Now, I get it because Nazis are kind of, in this movie and Last Crusade, kind of like pretty cartoonish.
Yeah.
They're almost like aliens in Star Wars where you don't care that they get killed.
Right.
They're the evil of the universe, right? And because of that, they're a little bit like, but goose-stepping goons? Which intern wrote this? Now, there is a quote.
Trials of Nuremberg.
I know, right? Oh, those goose-stepping goons. What can you do? What can you do with the Nazis, really? Okay, there is a quote at the bottom of this from Roger Ebert that is one of my evidence is, so I'm not going to read it
Oh,
yet.
okay. All right.
Good News Nation. It's in color, like you said, hour 55, and it's rated 80s PG.
Yep. Definitely. Hmm.
Uh, so I think I mean, I can't wait. We got to get into this trial.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay, let's clap again.
Great.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap.
All rise.
Hey, how's it going over there? I love this one where Indy gives those goose stepping goons a run for their money and gets that arc. Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, cheers.
Dr. Knudsen liked that description of the most evil
Oh.
organization in the entire history of the world. Goose stepping goons. It's weird, isn't it, to think? I remember thinking about this, that Spielberg's he has portrayed Nazis in this series and in Schindler's List.
Wow. That's
And
really
so
interesting.
he knows how to direct a movie about Nazis.
Yeah, like to be and to take it very seriously. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
his
seriously that I've
masterpiece.
right. I've only watched that movie once. I've never watched it
Right.
again.
Yeah.
And then um then in Last Crusade you get Scherzo for Motorcycle where they're doing flips around and they're just
Yep.
goose
Yep.
stepping goons.
And yeah, I mean, and like one of the greatest chase scenes ever when he
Mm-hmm.
takes a horse to get to the ark that's on that truck full of those goose stepping goons.
I just got goose stepping goon
Uh-huh.
bumps thinking
Yeah.
about that scene. And we'll get to it, but first the rules. Here we are in the trial. This is how it works. We take a movie we love, and we do love Raiders of the Lost Ark. We talk through it. We act as its defense counsel and present evidence, and we attempt to prove to you, the listener, and to one another that this movie is not only good, it's perfect. Whenever we get to an evidence, you'll hear this noise, and we'll give an evidence. When we're done, we each get a vote. Anthony and I do, yay or nay. The collective listener gets a vote. And so you're going to vote on our Instagram at Two Gomers. If it's 75% yes there, and each of us, me and Anthony, votes yes, that's perfect. It goes up to Khan, not Michael Khan.
Different spelling.
Is it? Yeah, you're right. The H
Yep.
is in a different place.
But that thing, oh yeah, keep going.
And,
Keep
and then
going.
and then he watches the list of movies we send up there, and he becomes a nice, fine gentleman.
It's that thing where like you can put those sentences and as long as you put the first letter and the last letter of a
I've seen that.
word,
Yep.
right? So
Yeah.
Khan is like that. Michael
Yep.
Khan, Michael Caine, Michael Khan,
Michael
James
Khan.
Khan Noonien Sung or whatever.
Yeah, what's his full name?
I thought it was
Khan. It's a cool
Khan
name.
Noonien Sung, or am I remembering? That's also Data's dad's name.
What? Oh
Yeah,
no, yeah. I just watched Measure Man, like I said, and he does talk about his
Dr.
creator.
Noonien Sung. But
Okay, that sounds right.
Khan has a full name though.
Okay,
Khan
we
is
gotta
like his
find out
first
what
name.
Khan's. I'm even though we're past Khan. Khan's in our rearview mirror. The Wrath of Khan. I mean,
Yep. Yep.
we better find out what his full name is for future episodes. Okay.
Yep.
So we're gonna try to do this. We're gonna try to prove once and for all that Raiders of the Lost Ark is a perfect movie. I have an idea about how to go about this, and it gets the Ebert quote out right away. I'm
Okay.
wondering if I could just chunk in right away.
Do it. Hey, by the way, I just looked this up. Khan Noonien Sung. Sung.
Huh. Okay,
I
so
was right.
Data's creator must be named something else similar. It's something with an
Yep.
S.
Yep.
All right. I'm chunking in. And I'm going to read this quote from Roger Ebert at the bottom of this thing. Roger Ebert said of 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark, no Indiana Jones in the title, which I like.
Yep.
The other ones start saying Indiana Jones and blank.
Yep.
Is it and the something? It's always and the something. So
And the
there's no
Temple of
the
Doom and
in
the Last
Raider.
Crusade.
Right.
Right.
The Dial of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
The
The Crystal Skull.
the Crystal Skull. Now there is a the in this title, but it's after. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, this is the quote. Roger Ebert says, the most incredible series of action and stunt set pieces I've ever seen in a movie.
Whoa.
So here's my evidence.
Okay.
The most incredible series of action and set pieces I've ever seen in a movie is my evidence.
Nice.
I think that, and I don't think we've ever done this with a movie before, is that I think the action scenes, maybe we did this when we talked about Partner to Fury Road.
Uh-huh.
The action set pieces are so good,
Mm-hmm.
so well done, so well choreographed, and so well written.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when I watch an Indiana Jones movie, it starts with this one, of course, the action sequences are king.
Yep.
And there's connecting tissue between those. But if the action sequences don't work for me, then I don't like the movie as much.
Yep. That's really good.
Can I just also define a term? Because
Sure.
because I was talking to somebody about Endgame actually, and I said I think the fact that the whole final hour of Endgame is one action set piece and it works is it really goes to its credit. And this person was like, "You love sets. You really love sets." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. When I say set piece, I'm not talking about a set.
Yeah, it's not a play. It's not like our Peter Pan set from our high school musical.
Right. It's not like Hook, I would say I love the set pieces in that movie. And what I'm
Right.
talking about are you can see the wall
Right.
where it ends. When I say set piece in a movie or in a piece of music, I think
Yeah.
is like a segment of that greater piece.
Sure.
And
Maybe
so
like movement in a
right,
symphony movie
exactly.
or something.
And so there can be, and actually, I'm just thinking this right now. I think Wayne's World is a series of comedy set pieces
Mm-hmm.
strung
Yep.
together in a cohesive movie.
Yep. Here's a set in a bar. Here's a set
Right.
at his apartment.
Yep.
Rib for her pleasure. Ew.
He's so good in that part.
Cancel cable access show, or what does he say? It's like take advantage of whatever it is.
Rip for her pleasure. This is a
Yeah.
30-year-old man grossed out by that.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, so a set piece in Indiana Jones, you had already said one, is the horse and the car, right? So,
Yeah.
but that maybe that's not the opening. The cold open is a set piece from
Yep.
the minute you see Indiana Jones until the plane flies away.
Yep.
That's an action set piece.
Yes. Yep.
And so that I think there are probably like 5 or 6. I
Yeah.
wish I had written them down. Maybe we can try to remember them.
Well, yeah, I was hearing in something that they wanted something to happen every 10 minutes.
Okay.
Something to happen every 10 minutes that is like gripping enough that you're like on the edge of your seat. And
Right.
I want to go back and watch it with that in mind, that it's basically set piece after set piece after set piece, like the bar.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
you
So
start the bar.
could we just try to list them in order?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he's going for the golden idol
Golden Idol, that's number
and the
1.
ball.
The ball,
Yep. You know what I'm gonna do is
freaking ball.
I'm gonna get the score out, dude,
Okay, great.
because I
That's
was listening to
awesome.
the score earlier,
And you
and
played the score this weekend, part of it,
I
right?
put Totally played the score last night.
Uh-huh.
Um, oh crap, that's partner to Crystal Skull. What are you doing there? Hey, what's going on
What's
over
the
there?
do you like the score of Crystal Skull? It's like there's a
I
triplet that I
do.
don't like.
Um,
I can't think of the
oh shoot,
leitmotif now for the Crystal
I
Skull.
can't think of it. Okay, so here's the I like the Crystal Skull leitmotif, and now I can't think of it. It's kind of
There's a
like
triplet I
eerie.
remember hearing when we listened to it, but I didn't mind. I don't think I mind triplets as much as you do.
I didn't like the triplets. Some of
Bum
Giacchino's
bum
triplets.
bum. It goes bum 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 at some point.
Oh, shoot! I haven't seen it in too long. I'm being a bad
You
movie
should
fan.
rewatch them before Dial of Destiny. At least you.
Will. Oh,
Yes.
I will. And I have to say, just
Mm-hmm.
throwing this out there, I watched this with 11-year-old Lily, and she
Hmm.
is in on Indiana Jones. She's like, when can we watch the next one? She is loving it, and Aaron loves them.
Mm.
Honestly, Isla would be fine. I mean, we all watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Sure.
This is like a cakewalk after that.
Just make sure you force her to close her eyes at the end, like my parents did. I don't think you
You,
need to.
you know what? Truth be told, though, I kind of don't want them to watch Temple of Doom.
Temple of
I
Doom
actually,
is rough. We watched them
yeah,
all, and
yeah,
Temple of Doom not only is my least favorite, even
yeah.
below Crystal Skull, if you can
Wow.
believe that. No, never mind. They're close, but
Shia.
the there's just a lot of like cult stuff that's not great. I
Yeah, I don't
don't
really
love the
like.
child slavery stuff, and then when
No,
he puts his hand in the guy's chest and pulls the heart out, that's pretty nasty.
totally. Num Shivai,
In a
all that.
different way than face melting, head exploding is at the end of this movie.
Yeah, dude, I might skip it, honestly. Because,
Yeah,
yeah, eating the brains, the snakes, and all the little snakes that come out, the bugs. Dang, I'm like talking myself out of even liking.
and
And
you know
earlier I
what?
said I loved
Kate
it.
Capshaw is not very good in it.
No.
And that's actually not her fault. It's a badly written part. I would
Yep.
say top reason to watch Temple of Doom. Short Round is so good in it.
Short round rules. Yeah, I mean I love the mine train,
Yeah, the
like
mine train. So
Mario Kart.
here's what you do. You watch the opening sequence, which is pretty good. The cold open is pretty good,
Cold open rules. Yep, it's fun, like the Broadway show kind of thing.
and you get to see Indiana Jones in a suit,
Yep,
and he
very
looks
cool.
really good. Harrison Ford looks really good in the suit that he's in. It's a
And
great action sequence, and you meet Short Round.
also top antidote bottle ever. If I could have a
Yes,
prop from a
that's
movie, I
good.
want that to be my reed soaker. That antidote bottle.
That antidote bottle is really good, and
So
also
good looking.
skewer thrown across the room stabbing
Oh
into a
yeah.
guy's chest moment, which
Yeah.
the special effect is so great because the camera just pans over to the guy and he's got it in his chest.
Yep.
Pretty good
Top
Indiana
gong
Jones.
scene.
A very fun rolling gong scene.
That's brilliant. And like the way the bullets sound coming off the gong is awesome.
Ding, doing, 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 doing. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so opening scene, you meet Short Round. That chemistry, when you hear, oh, there's going to be a kid in an Indiana Jones movie, that's the best part of the movie. Their chemistry is incredible.
Yep. And they know him from Goonies.
So watch the opening scene, skip to the mine cart, and it's a great movie.
Wow. It's not much of it, but those are great
It's not
set
much of it,
pieces.
you're right, but it's a great
Those
movie.
are okay. That
All right.
rules. All right. So I've got the score here. Here are the cues. Okay, in the jungle.
Okay, let's call that Golden Idol.
Yep. So
Set
it's
piece.
in the jungle and then the idol temple. And then
Okay,
escape
great.
from the temple. There's our first three.
I suppose you're right. There's the lead up to the set piece where there's the big hero reveal. He turned like you see him in the hat from behind.
Yep.
He whips and then he turns around and you're like, "Hey,
Yep. And
that
then
guy."
the best parody ever, UHF.
I know.
Remember when he whip and that guy's arm falls off?
He whips the guy's arm right off. He's not very good with the whip.
Right.
He runs off. Yeah, okay. So that's the kind of the whole opening scene, which Iconic.
Yep, the ball. I mean, it's been parodied. It's
Yep.
amazing. What is that ball even doing there? Who cares?
How was it?
Like,
Why doesn't it go all the way out? Why does it, how is he able to
yeah,
escape it? Yeah.
he just stops right there.
Also,
Yep.
there's this thing that Alex and I always used to do and did it the like last month when we were at Universal, which is whenever we see a beam of light,
Yep.
he'll like put his hand up into it. And then we talk about Indiana Jones and his who is it? Alfred Molina is with him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yep.
Had to have been there at the exact right time of day
Mm.
for that thing to work.
Yep.
Because and they just happened to be there exactly at the right time of day
Mm.
for a sunlight triggered booby trap to work.
Yep. And all the triggers for the booby trap are those same little spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's not hard to walk around. That's
I
like
can,
actually,
I can see it clearly.
you
Some
can
of
see
them
the
are
whole
covered
thing.
with dirt.
I know, it's so easy. But then he can run super fast and not get hit by any of them.
He's faster than darts.
Uh huh. Wow.
Perfect. Love it. Okay.
Okay, so then he gets in the plane. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the ending of that. I mean,
Yep.
incredible.
Yep.
We've got Flight from Peru. That's the next clip. Then Washington Men / Indy's Home.
Okay. That's when he comes in and it's I guess there's not a score another score until well, obviously there's what do you call it when it's just like the beeps and boops that you play full score that wouldn't make a soundtrack.
Oh, incidental? No,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
maybe
that.
that.
So
Incidental music.
I think what they're talking about with that next score is when he goes home he's packing. Is that right?
Right, but before that is they establish the character. He's at the college. He's a professor. All the ladies are like, "This is Indiana Jones is your professor." What?
The girl with the love you on her
Yep.
eyelids. I mean, there's iconic moments in every single scene, and that is definitely one that I remember from when I was a kid. That the kid kind of who I think either also has a crush on Indiana Jones
Uh huh.
or
Yep.
is mad at him, gives him an apple in kind of
Yeah.
this like frustrated way.
Yeah. He leaves
I
in a
love
huff.
that moment.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Maybe
Indiana
he's
Jones,
like, "You're always gone." Maybe that's what he's like. Because remember in Last
yeah,
Crusade, it's like he's like got all these papers he hasn't graded. All the people are mad at him because he's
they're
always
all waiting for
gone.
office hours with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, and then he gets called away by what's the name of the character that
Oh, what's the name of the
why can't I
Denholm
think of
Elliott?
yeah, Denholm Elliott. I remember the
Brody.
yeah, Brody. Calls him out
Fish
and
are
says
making
there's
love in the
some
water.
there's some government men here to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
Yep.
I guess I have to chunk it again. Dang it.
All right.
When we did Jurassic Park, I chunked in on Mr. DNA
Mm.
because for me that's
Yep.
top info dump in any
Yep.
movie.
Just take exposition, give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. Not a single rock.
Here's how everything works
Uh huh.
that you need to know.
Yep.
And in Jurassic Park, they landed on this Mr. DNA, and it's exactly what you need right then in the movie to ground you where you are and know all the rules. And these two
Yep.
guys, these two nerd government men coming in with Indiana Jones and his giant A Bible
Yeah. Right.
and a chalkboard.
Yep. Which he flips over. Yep. Also, so these are the American gooseneck goons.
Not
No, or
gooseneck,
no, maybe
goose
that's not.
stepping.
Maybe that's not right. I don't know.
These guys are kind of like, we heard of this thing called the Ark. Do you know what it is? Can you explain it? Master Qui-Gon, can you explain to us what midichlorians are? But
Right.
what I don't know, I can't actually explain to you why this works for me.
Oh, it's a perfect info dump. It rules.
They're
I'm
maybe
so
it's
with
because
you.
they're in like an empty classroom or something.
Yeah. Well, and Brody is such a perfect like foil for Indy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's like
Yes.
he's also brilliant, but he's the
Mm-hmm.
financier, right? Of the, or isn't he? Or is he? Yeah, yeah,
He
he is
works at
because
the
he's like
university,
the
but I
Museum of
don't
Biome, of course, of course. You know.
right, but I get what you mean because without Brody in the scene, it wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like sitting back sometimes, smiling, enjoying the fact that Indiana Jones is the smartest person in the room and also the best looking and
Yeah.
the best whipper
Uh,
and
the best at everything.
kind of enjoying these guys not quite understanding what they've got
Mm-hmm.
with with Indiana Jones. And they don't actually understand the danger of what they're talking about.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so
Found staff of Ra
uh-huh. Yep.
need input. Or
I love Indy drawing that picture of the staff.
yep.
He's a good
Perfect.
drawer.
Yeah, dude, Harrison Ford, he can draw. I love it. We've probably said that before, but I love it when people do real things in movies like sign names, like draw
Uh-huh.
pictures.
Yep.
Do
And so it
like,
doesn't
you
cut
know, yeah.
away and then you see the picture of the staff of Ra up there. He
Right.
draws it. And then he
Yep.
draws the beam of light coming from it like he does this every day.
Yeah. I love it.
Um
And I love
and
chalk. Perfect chalk scene.
then here in is this perfect shock scene. I agree. Um, the chalkboard really it wouldn't work without the chalkboard either.
I know this expo markers, no way, dude. It's gotta be chalk.
A whiteboard, an overhead projector. Get
Oh,
real. You need a chalkboard.
yeah.
Um, you also learn. So they're looking for the lost ark. That's cool. You also learn that Hitler is looking for it as well.
Right. So you've now set up the main rival because you don't see Nazis in the opening.
Mm-mm.
That's a
No,
totally different thing. You meet Belloc. Belloc.
who's French. He's not really a
Right.
he's not even a German. And so I
Right.
think the bomb that is dropped here is the bad guy in this movie is Hitler.
Yep.
And
He's
from then
obsessed with
on
the
I'm
occult.
in. He's obsessed with the occult. He's looking for this thing that is I mean I'm covered in goosebumps right now. I don't know if there's a better setup to any movie, any action
Is
movie.
there is there a better MacGuffin ever?
No.
The Ark of the Covenant, dude.
th- then that's why I think it works so well also in Last Crusade, even though you're kind of like,
No,
oh,
yep.
they're going for the cup of Christ, but still you're kind of into that because
Dude, wait, but there's the other MacGuffin. Goat MacGuffin. The Holy Grail and the
yep,
Ark of the Covenant. You got the OT
mm-hmm,
and the NT.
yep. And
That's why Temple is stupid.
I think probably Holy Grail is the ultimate MacGuffin of like history.
Yep.
So that's like
Yep.
Arthur was after it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of the thing. I don't know if you've heard of this new show, Mrs. Davis, that's on right now. It's a it's from the Lost
No.
guy, Damon Lindelof, his new show, and it's about
Yep.
searching for the uh searching for the Holy Grail.
Wow.
And it's kind of
Well,
the go-to MacGuffin. So the Ark of the Covenant is something beautiful because it's not that, but
yep.
it's so cool and just Hitler's after too. So this archaeologist has to find the Ark of the Covenant before Hitler finds it.
Wow.
I love it.
Yep. Well, and also Holy Grail too. It's now like everybody's searching for the Holy Grail of blank,
Yeah.
the Holy Grail of youth, right? The Holy
Right. Yep.
Grail like of your job, or like
It's the
yeah.
metaphor.
So yeah, metaphor. Yeah.
hmm Um.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's that incredible scene with just four guys sitting around a table and a chalkboard. That's one of the greatest scenes ever
Yep.
filmed. And then
Yep.
sounds like the score comes back in when he's at his house packing up.
Oh yeah. So the score comes back in. Apparently there was a cut scene here
Okay.
where originally there was a lady there
Oh.
when they showed up, and that's why he's like sort of halfway dressed.
Hmm. I see.
And
And that's
they
to
were like,
kind
we're
of
not
set him
gonna
up as like a ladies' man.
right. So a
Mhm.
little more Bondian,
Yeah, yep.
you know.
And speaking of Bond, I think Spielberg was offered a Bond movie and he decided to do
Okay,
this
here
instead.
the here's okay. This is where I have actually a different piece of information, but that they could both be right.
Okay.
Uh, so Lucas wanted two pieces of IP, from what I
Huh.
understand:
Okay.
Flash Gordon and James Bond.
Okay.
And so
Yes,
he's
this makes a
been
lot of sense.
couldn't, and so it's
Uh-huh.
like, okay, how about I make Luke Skywalker and Indiana Jones?
Yeah. And
Like
it works so well.
I'll just make my own, and they'll both be better.
Right. And so when you see Indiana Jones in a suit at the beginning of Temple of Doom, that feels very Bond to me. But I
Ooh, what
think
if you put the Bond score under that? That'd be
that would
interesting.
be
That'd be
awesome.
weird.
Here
Yeah.
he's doing something different where it's like he's not a suave, shaken, not stirred
Uh huh.
agent. He's a
Right.
professor who also he's really good at shooting a gun. I mean, you wouldn't believe how good at shooting a gun this guy is and hitting
Yep.
people with
Yep.
shovels and stuff.
Right.
Jumping, riding a horse. So
Right.
I
Do it with your
like I
hands, not with
like
your
the
mouth.
twist that he did when he didn't get Bond, that he made this character instead. I love it.
Yeah. I heard that on a movie podcast like a
Okay,
couple years ago, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And
you're probably
I
right.
thought,
This sounds more accurate.
yeah, and I thought, yeah, yeah, okay, that's what it was. So I was watching Making of, and this
Hmm.
is according to Spielberg. They used to go to Hawaii whenever their movies would open and just watch the return, like watch the box office returns come in.
And is
Which,
that why they went there for Star Wars? Because he was so like, remember that Lucas thought it was
yes,
gonna flop.
yeah. So that this is where they were at. They
Okay.
were in Hawaii to
Uh huh.
watch these returns, maybe to escape. But Spielberg said it had become a tradition
Yeah.
that they do that all the time, which I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um, and he said, "I'm ready for my next project. Uh, I've been thinking about a Bond thing or something like that." And then Lucas was like, "I actually have this idea that I was going to do with Philip Kaufman
Mm.
from Right Stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, and why don't we do this together?" And he's like, "Okay,
Uh,
sounds awesome." So then since Spielberg was like, "I have this writer guy that I think would rule for this," Lawrence Kasdan
yep.
brings him in, and then the fly on the wall thing, like if I could transport almost anywhere in the world ever of any
Mm-hmm.
time, after hearing Tim Keller's last sermon, after
Uh-huh.
going to see The Resurrection, after seeing Garfield play the Mozart concerto with Philly in 60s, would be to be
After
in the
after
yeah,
that lady, that old lady who talked in ET voice.
yep, right, the smoker lady at
Yeah.
the antique shop or whatever, when they were like,
Yep.
"That's ET." Then I want to be in the writers' room with Lawrence Kasdan, George Lucas, and Spielberg, where they said for 3 days they just wrote.
It's got to be the real live version of this chalkboard. I bet you they had a chalkboard. How
Oh,
much you want to bet?
totally. Chalkboard, legal pads,
Mm-hmm.
pens.
Yep. Incredible. It's the dream. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing
Yep.
when all the Pixars met at that restaurant and they came
Yep.
up with the first 10 to 12 movies they were gonna do.
Yep.
And all of them beautiful hits.
Yep. Every last one of them.
Yep. Um, so that the packing, you're right, that scene feels kind of Bond. And if they had added the lady, it would have kind of made him more Bond. I'm glad they
Yeah.
didn't. I'm glad they took the lady out.
Yeah. Totally. I agree. I think that was a great call.
Hmm.
Makes him seem like a womanizer.
You don't want that. You don't want that early in the
No.
movie, and that's
No.
not actually who he becomes.
Yeah, he's an archaeological nerd. Right?
And
Like
just
he
happens upon ladies that love him once in a while, and he's loyal to them in each movie.
Yup. Yup.
And then
Mhm.
Marion Ravenwood again in Last
Yup.
Crusade. I mean, sorry, Crystal Skull.
Yup. Totally. So I'm glad they cut that. All right,
Yep.
now after that,
Hmm. Here we go.
They head to Nepal, right?
Yep. And then we have this bar scene.
Mm,
And this is what I'm talking about with these set pieces being interesting.
yep.
We talked about this in the Marvel tour, where you're like sometimes in an action scene in Marvel, and I'm the same way. You just check out. Who cares?
Yep, it's yep, exactly. You're like, this isn't gonna tell the story at all. It's just gonna be cool eye candy for 5 minutes, like a chase scene or a car scene, right?
Yeah, if that. Sometimes there's action scenes in modern movies that just you've seen them a million times, and the characters battling each other aren't interacting in interesting ways. Every beat of this bar scene
Yep,
is an interesting something interesting happens.
yep. It's not a John Wick, which I
Hmm.
love John Wick, but there's
Yep.
sometimes there's 10 minutes where I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Right. The stairs in John Wick 4, I was like, you could have made this a minute. There's
Yep.
interesting parts of that, but if you think about a prolonged action scene like that versus this, probably like, what is it, 4 minutes in the bar
Yep.
after the Nazis come in, um, where it's the just the way they're using bottles, the way they're using the several guns in the room, the way that the whip is
Mm-hmm.
used,
Mm-hmm.
the hot the way the fire is used,
Yeah, the hot medallion.
the hot medallion.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yep.
No, and maybe another one of Brian Switzky's bands, Hot Medallion.
Or Tot. You know that guy's name? His name is Tot.
Oh, is it Tot or Tote?
Well, maybe it's Tote.
I
That's
think
both
it's
are.
Tote because that means dead in German.
Yeah, I thought that was TOD.
Oh, you might be
Um,
right. Oh, here I see
but
TOHT. Okay, that might be.
yeah,
The guy with the
I don't
glasses that
know.
we're talking about
Yeah, with
with and the lips.
the nunchuck, fake out.
My first Raiders of the Lost Ark memory is seeing
Mm,
that scene on TV when he
yep.
brings in that like torture device. I think it's a torture device, and he puts it
Yeah.
in to a hanger. Great
Yep.
gag. Laughed.
Very good.
Remembered it for my entire life. I still
It
remember
worked out,
that moment.
dude. It worked on Lily.
Yeah.
She loved it. She's like,
And
"Oh
part of
gosh, I
that
thought
is
that
the
was."
score. The score is doing some heavy lifting there because it's you think it's
Definitely.
evil because of what John Williams is doing there.
Yep. Totally agree.
Woo. Okay, that bar action scene is top banana. I friggin' love it.
Totally. And it ends with, does she have it or does he have it? That ending.
He
I
has
guess
it,
I'm
I
going
think.
with you then, right?
She's got it in a cloth. She's shaking
Oh,
hot medallion in his face.
yes.
You
Yes.
got yourself a partner.
Yes.
I
Oh,
just got
now we're
blown
off to
back
the
in my seat.
races. Me too. Oh my, the fire's burning. Oh man.
Romance, the chemistry
Yup.
boiling over.
Yup.
And then
Wow.
I feel like really from then on, it is action set piece, action set piece, action set piece. So they fly then with that iconic red line.
Yup.
Where do they fly then? They fly to
Cairo.
Cairo. There's some more discussion about what they're doing, and then they go into the Cairo chase.
Yep, Cairo chase. This is where apparently on set everybody got super sick, like
Yep,
dysentery or something like that.
yep,
At
that's
like,
diarrhea.
okay, yep. Oh yeah, which we know from Mrs. Doubtfire, right? She gets amoebic dysentery. Remember?
That's one of the things the editor didn't take out.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that
so
sweet
and
girl.
that's where that is it the best joke in the movie where the swordsman is that huge setup with the swordsman and then
Yep.
Indy shoots him,
Yep.
never doesn't get a laugh, and uh it's because he had such horrible diarrhea that day.
Yeah, like they trained for this whole sword scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, this is way that's just a happy accident. I mean,
Yep.
literally, dude, happy accident.
Almost. He did it and then he
I did.
probably had a happy accident.
Yeah, he didn't want to have a happy accident on on set. Um, and then there's like the lore that Steven Spielberg had only ate food out of cans.
Oh, I
Like he
haven't heard
only
this.
ate I believe he only ate canned food
Okay.
for like the whole shoot. And
So
so
he
he's the
wouldn't
only
get.
person that didn't get sick.
I love that. What a smart guy.
But could you imagine eating like Franks and beans just for like 6 months or
Well,
something?
that
Like
that seems like that would have the same effect on me.
maybe we should. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you have some happy accidents.
Yep, of my own. Um, so that action scene again, there's frying pan stuff, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
um uh,
Laundry
and then
hampers or
yeah, the
like
big
those.
the big hampers that they're in,
Yep.
and then ends with what we think is Marion exploding in a truck.
Mm.
Indy is sad for a while.
Sala doesn't seem to really give a rep.
He's kind of like, come on, like get over it and eat some dates.
Some bad dates. By the way, did you know who was supposed to be Sala?
No.
Dude, Sala was supposed to be Danny DeVito.
Okay. I don't know if that works for racial reasons,
Even
but
though
also I
Jonathan
kind of
Rhys
like
Davies.
how big Sala is. You know what I mean? Like
Me too. Yep.
Danny DeVito, don't you think he would have played it sleazy?
Yeah, definitely. Twins style.
Sala needs to have some sort of like comforting presence in the
Yeah.
room.
I love Jonathan Rhys Davies just
Me
like
too.
stature. Like
Me too.
he's like he's tall, he's got the great beard, he can sing, Gilbert and Sullivan.
Yep.
Uh yeah.
And that's why he's such interesting and great casting as well. I'm not going to remember his name in Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
As the
Gamgee? No, 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 no. The dwarf.
yeah dwarf, not Thorin. That's in The Hobbit, and but he's a descendant of Thorin. Anyways,
Right.
I'm not going to
What
remember it.
how do you
Anyways, casting
pronounce
this
it?
massive dude as a dwarf is so interesting and perfect casting for that role. Are you looking it up?
Totally. I am looking it up. Gimli.
Gimli. I'm looking at a picture of him right
Oh,
now.
and he was in
Perfect.
Jungle Book.
I really like this
Uh,
guy. And he's the
yeah.
voiceover in the Dial of Destiny trailer, which is
Oh
I
yeah.
I cannot wait to see him again.
Yep. I and isn't is he he's in Last Crusade, right?
Yeah, he's one of the four at the end that rides off in the sunset.
Yep. Oh man, I almost stepped on some sequel chat. I'm just like it doesn't come up at all when they the book burning that they missed out on this whole thing, the arc, like because this was a major problem, like
Yeah.
that they found the arc, lost the
Mm-hmm.
arc, and everybody died.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
They probably kept it a secret. I'm
Okay.
assuming, they're
Okay, yeah.
Nazis. But
Yep.
doesn't Salah say, you were named after the dog?
Yeah. Okay, let's do a quick bit of dog chat. I'm gonna drop in a clip right here. I'll
Okay.
do it in post.
Okay.
Okay. So the clip I drop in is Lucas tells the dog story in
Okay,
like 1
great.
minute. It's great.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll drop that in post. I forgot to get that.
And that is why your dog is named Indy.
Yep. And your dog is named Chewy.
BFFs
Perfect dogs
who have
that'll
never met.
never meet.
They'll never meet.
They'll never. I
Two
mean,
dogs with Harrison Ford connections and George Lucas connections.
yep. Love
Wow.
it.
Okay. So he doesn't eat the bad dates. And then I'm trying to
Yep.
remember what the next action set piece is. It's got to be then. Oh,
Okay. We go to Sala and Indy go down. Do they go down into the Well of Souls, or
that's
is
what it
that where
is.
all
Well
those
of
snakes
Souls
are?
is next. Well of
Well of
Souls is
Souls.
next.
Incredible.
And so I mean, I love the Staff of Ra set piece. I don't think that would be considered action, but it is so awesome how they
Mm-hmm.
find the right place to. They find out it's a foot too long, all that stuff. But then that next action sequence is when she gets thrown down in there with snakes. Why there have to be snakes, and they have to get out.
Yep. Well, hold on. We've got the Well of Souls. Then we've got a cue called Indy rides the statue.
Yeah, that's when he's pushing it over. Remember, he gets on top of that
Oh,
statue and he pushes it over so it smashes into the wall.
got it. We've got the drinking game. We've got the nunchucks. We've got
Yep.
the new white dress. Then we've
Mm-hmm.
got the snakes. Why do they have to be snakes? Then we've got the glass in front of the cobra scene where
Oh,
you can
right.
see glass.
Real
No.
snakes, and so they had to put panes of glass between the snakes. And are you talking about when is it Marion is right on the ground in front of that snake, or is it Indy? I
Yeah,
can't remember.
Harrison Ford is right in front of a cobra.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the question I have, which because I always notice that right away. You can
Yeah.
see the reflection. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
we watched it in 4K on Disney Plus,
Yeah.
and I think they fixed that.
Have they cleaned it up?
Yeah, because I was looking for the plastic pane or the wind or the
Yeah.
glass to show
Yep.
Lily in the reflection because you could see the reflection of the cobra,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't there. So I
Okay.
wonder if they cleaned that up.
Now, something they
I
haven't
liked
cleaned
that.
up. Now, where were you watching this? On Paramount Plus?
No, Disney. I think Disney Plus.
It's not on Disney Plus yet. They're moving
What
it to Disney Plus like at the end of the, or maybe they
really?
have. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure that's where we watched it.
Okay. So Disney does that sort of thing, right? Now we watched it on
Yeah.
Paramount Plus, and something they didn't fix was the fly crawling into the guy's mouth. Do you know this part?
Oh yeah. Yep. In the uh,
Out
it's
in the desert.
Belloc
Yeah.
with the gun on the Lost Ark pointing at it.
And they even insert a sound effect there of a fly,
No, really?
but buzzing and then landing on his mouth and crawling in.
Dang it, I missed it.
Rewatch.
Okay, gotta rewatch it.
One of my favorite, like, I don't know why. It's just like that would never, like, I can just see Michael Kahn and
Yeah,
Spielberg in a room saying, that's weird. Let's double down on that
yeah.
and put a
Let's not
sound
only
effect
leave
in.
that in. Let's drop in a little Wilhelm scream of flies.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's interesting about the pane of glass because that's another one of those things. Like, did you know if you look
Hmm.
close, you can see this? Um, most of those snakes, I think, are fake, but there's some real ones thrown in so that you get the idea of kinetic motion that the whole
Yeah.
floor is moving.
Well, so I guess actually there were they brought in 1,000 snakes. This is in my
Oh wow.
research, and they did some wide shots, and it wasn't enough, so they brought in 2,000 more.
Listen, this is
And
great info. I love the more
so
you can get that's real, the better.
yeah, so Karen Allen in her
Mm-hmm.
interview, she's like, Indy's got these boots, these
Mm-hmm.
khakis, this
Mm-hmm.
jacket. She's like, I was barefoot in this little white dress that they ripped off the bottom of it to use as a torch. You know, and she's like, I did not feel like very safe.
Yeah, I bet. Uh, But I love it because you get them being kind of freaked out.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh,
actors are
that
pretty freaked out in that scene.
it's maybe we should pit the gross things of the four
That's a good idea.
movies against
Yep.
each other in the sequel chat.
What's left for Dial of Destiny? What is left?
Yeah, so
Because
you've
they have
got
to go back to bugs,
snakes, bugs, rats.
red
Was there
ants.
ants? Yup.
I like the red ants. Um,
That was pretty good.
there's
It was
also
kind of gross though.
monkeys
Yep,
in
monkeys.
that.
Yep.
So I'm like, what's like bats? What
Yeah,
else is
bats or
gross?
birds or fish or
Birds,
maybe
piranhas.
yeah, maybe like a water thing.
I'm just thinking of like this like what are people viscerally scared of? Snakes,
Right.
rats, bugs. They got
Hmm.
those so right.
Yep.
Um
Totally.
spiders, like just
Mm,
but spiders are at the beginning of this movie too.
yep.
When he wipes them off the back, Alfred
Oh yeah.
Molina's back. Whew.
Also real.
Yep.
That was real.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. So they get out of the snake thing. They push that tiny little block that was protecting the lost ark,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go to that fight scene
The
on the
plane.
plane, the
Yep.
V-wing plane.
Yeah. So this feels like the set piece starts at the plane and goes all the way through the truck,
Yup,
nonstop.
absolutely. She gets into the plane. The pilot
Yep.
of the plane, by the way, I think was a stuntman that got sick. So then they used Frank Marshall, the
Okay.
producer.
That guy
So
had this
that's
diarrhea somewhere. Frank
yep.
Marshall had to get in.
Maybe Marshall had some of Spielberg's beans, and so he was able to.
I can do it. I ate beans.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah,
yeah,
they've
that was
got that.
scary.
He's fighting that really big guy who's also in Temple of Doom. He comes back. The actor
Hmm.
does that really big guy with the bald head. He's one of
Yeah.
the the goons in the cave. Um,
Really?
yeah.
Oh.
Uh, so I guess that might be a George Lucas guy also. Who knows? Anyways, he gets chopped up with the propeller, which is awesome but gross.
Yes. Also, one we've talked about this before, but if that guy punched me one time, I'd be dead.
Immediate death, or
Right?
else permanently disabled. Right, my face would cave in.
Yeah, like couldn't talk, broken
Mm-mm.
nose,
No, it would change
broken
your life
jaw.
if you didn't die.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. But that punch sound, which is like
Mm.
celery stalks breaking.
Is that what that is?
Yes. Okay, so just let me say this real quick. I went to the uh Academy of Motion Pictures Museum in LA. I told you about that a while. That's
Mm.
when I saw the
Yep.
Interstellar suit and everything like that.
Yeah.
They had a little room called the sound effects room, sound design room. You go
Oh
in, and
man.
it's this half an hour film about the opening set piece of this movie and
Dang.
they show the scene with how it sounded when they filmed it.
Uh,
Then they show it again and they add a couple sound effects and tell you how they did it every time.
wow,
And
that's
at some
cool.
point they even though he's not punching in that scene, at some point they're saying they reveal that it's that this crack of part of the punch is a crack of fresh celery
Wow, that's
to
so cool.
simulate bone cracking when
Okay,
he
I can see that.
yep.
Okay, yeah,
So there's like this deep like in
yeah,
this movie, a punch sound you're not going to hear anywhere else in any movie, I don't think.
yep, totally with you.
So lots of that. Right into horses. He gets on a horse,
Mm-hmm.
which he uses to catch up with the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and then he beats up every all of the Nazis in this one truck.
Yep. While driving.
Sometimes underneath the truck, which I
Oh,
love that
dude,
sped up
perfect.
part where he's underneath the truck.
Yeah, perfect truck. Great though. Perfect riding underneath. I mean, that still works. An
Yep.
11-year-old that has
Mm.
seen action movies like crazy. She was
Mm-hmm.
on the edge of her seat.
Yeah.
It still works, dude.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what my favorite of all these are. That might be my favorite is the how to get into this truck.
Yep.
And because he is on top, on the side, in the front, inside, underneath, the back again. They
Yeah.
utilize that truck
Yep.
in just a perfect action sequence of events. And then he runs the guys off the road and he drives away and they put it on a sub.
Yep.
And that's when he's pointing at things on his body and Marion's kissing them. And oh boy,
Perfect mirror flipping scene.
she
She,
turns
he,
up the mirror and knocks him out.
yep. That's a great scream from Harrison Ford right there.
Right. He's a good screamer. That was one of my evidences, I think. No, it was one of my goosebump moments in Empire when he's screaming and
Yeah.
getting tortured. He's a good
Oh
screamer.
yeah. Empire. Yep. Totally.
Yep. Uh, so then the Nazis come and he has to swim over to. Oh, that's not a submarine. That's the ship. They're on a boat.
Yep.
Then he swims over to the submarine, gets inside. They drive to Crete or whatever that island is.
Yep. Good work.
I don't know if it is. I just know that that isn't.
No, it
Oh, it is
says
Crete.
In the score it says Marion's theme slash the crate. Never
The
mind.
crate. Okay, never mind.
Could be Crete.
Patmos, one of those.
Sure.
Um, and then the last, I would say the final action piece is the opening of the Ark,
Yep.
which I had not seen until I was a teenager, even though I'd seen the movie many, many times.
Yep. What did they do? Did they just say skip to the end? Skip to the Raiders March?
We were allowed to listen. I closed my eyes or face the other way. And so I heard all those Ghostbuster ghosts
Yep.
flying
Uh-huh.
around.
Yep.
It
It's
is
kind of
scary, I
scary.
guess.
It's scary.
Especially that angel that turns into a demon. That's scary.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Why can't they look? Why does Indy know that's the thing that's going to
I
keep them
know.
alive?
Yep.
I
I
mean, it
always liked that
works.
though. I always
Me
liked that
too.
like don't look. I mean, is that like a callback to like Lot's wife, right?
Or
Like, how she
um
turns around and looks and turns into a pillar of salt.
yep, totally. And also when Moses asks to see his face,
Mm.
God says,
Mm.
"Okay, I'll show you myself, but you have to look at my back." And
Right.
even that turns his hair white.
Yep. Totally.
And he comes
So I
down and
think
they're like, "Dude, you're glowing. What's going on here?"
uh-huh. I think that's actually that those are two pretty good like reasons why they did that.
Okay, there seems to be quite a bit of Old Testament precedent for not looking, and maybe Indiana
Yep.
remembered that and said, "Our only chance here is if we don't look right at it."
Yep. That's good.
And good job, Marion, for trusting him in that. I mean, she could have been like, "Forget it, man. If we're this far, they're gonna kill us anyway. Let's just look at the thing."
Yeah. I
But
want to see.
it so that scene, which I've seen many times since then, and I told you the story one time where I was like, "Guys, this is gonna be really scary," to my
Oh yeah.
boys, and they thought
Yep.
it was hilarious.
Yeah,
Um,
the face melt. Tot.
it actually still kind of works for me, that scene, even though the effects are dated.
It totally does. Hey, dude, can you pause here for 1 second? I got a
Yep.
whiz
Okay.
so bad.
We'll
I'm
pause and we'll come
sorry.
back to that.
Oh
All
no,
right,
you
I'm
can just
pausing
leave.
it.
Oh, you're pausing it.
Yeah,
All right, I'm sorry.
no problem.
So sorry, people watching.
I'm gonna go too.
Sorry. Okay, cool. Oh man, Gomer Nation, Gomertrons. I don't know if this one will ever make it onto YouTube or not. I hope you couldn't hear that.
Oh, you think it was so much
Dude,
that
I
it was
was
audible?
because the bathroom's right there. And
Wow.
sorry. Go to
Okay.
132 even.
Okay, and the last thing that I said was that scene really works for me, even though the effects are dated. And you were like, "Oh yeah,
Okay, cool. 132 even.
got it."
Okay, let's start there. 1, 2, 3, click. All right. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. All right, we're back on board with better.
Sweet.
I'll say totally, and then I'll go from there.
Okay.
Because that's the last set piece, right?
Yep.
Totally. Okay, dude. Dang it, let me bring this up. Sorry. Totally. Hey, dude, can I just chunk in real quick?
Oh yeah, because we're almost at the
Okay.
end.
I know we're almost at the end of this. It's just we were like in such a zone,
Oh yeah, that's
and
how this movie works.
totally like I was like, there's no way for me to jump in anywhere, which is not a bad thing. Also, by the way, I wrote down this quote from one of those behind the scenes things.
Uh-huh.
George Lucas, his description for Indiana Jones is he's always a hero that is in over his head,
Okay. I really
and I
like that.
think I love that. That's not my evidence. I just love that. Like that's where he's that's something that makes him different than James
Mm-hmm.
Bond.
Yep.
Is James Bond is always cool and collected. I feel
Yeah.
like Indiana Jones is like that. He's in over his head, but he
Yep.
always ends up escaping by, the skin of his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's not too cool for the situation as it's actually he's in over his head.
And he's a little bit more authentic because of that. And that's why I think that if you watch the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, he's
Yep.
much more Indiana Jones. He
Sure.
there's a shift. I wonder if even pre and post Raiders, if there's a shift in James Bond,
Mm.
because because I think the audience really responds to this movie. So, sorry, you were chunking in. I don't know. Was that what were you chunking in
No,
about?
that's not even the chunk. I just looked at my notes and then I saw that and I was like, also Jeff Bridges was the other person that they were strongly considering.
Wow. Okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna say something here. I haven't thought it through, but I think the only other person that I feel like could work from that era is Kurt Russell.
Ah,
What
okay.
about
I could see
Kurt
that.
Russell when he's like in The Thing or when he's in Escape from New York? He's handsome enough and he's also rugged and kind of sarcastic enough. I think that works better than Jeff Daniels, who I love.
Yeah, obviously.
Please, more Jeff Daniels, but I just don't see him as
Jeff
Indiana
Bridges, Jeff
Jones.
Bridges.
Oh, Jeff Bridges. Wait a minute. I was thinking about Jeff Daniels.
Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, who I
No,
love.
Jeff
Who's Jeff
Bridges,
Bridges?
Tron, um
Oh, right. I love him too.
uh
Shoot.
is he in
Big
Big
Lebowski.
Chill? Big Lebowski.
Big
Yeah,
Lebowski.
he's the dude.
Yep, the dude.
But the dude 15 years before.
Okay,
Like when
okay,
he
okay. Actually,
no
okay, yeah, yeah.
beard.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might
I think
work.
it's I want to see Jeff Bridges 1981 in the indie outfit. I think he'd look pretty amazing.
I was thinking Jeff Daniels, so that's what I was like. That's weird. Pick Kurt Russell instead.
You're like, how about George? I mean, I know you like Jake Lloyd, but how about Kurt Russell?
All right,
uh,
okay.
okay,
So,
let me
anyways, we got to get to your chunk. What did you chunk in on?
two quick chunks. I'll chunk in again.
Whoa, he's doing a double.
Yeah. Well, this is going back to the first one.
Okay.
Just I'm just chunking in over George Lucas
Mm,
because sometimes we give him a hard time, like we just did. Actually, so I'm glad we just did that.
yeah.
But dude, he created these characters. Everybody's inspired by something in the past, a book you read, a movie you
Mm-hmm.
loved, a story you
Mm-hmm.
were told,
Mm-hmm.
and then that comes into the art that you make, right? So
Mm-hmm.
whether it was inspired by Bond or you know old school stuff, old school
Yep.
serials,
Yeah.
we got Indiana Jones out of his brain, dude.
Yep.
He's just he is actually I will double down on this. He's a
You're just chunking
visionary.
like crazy over here,
I know
folks.
he's a storyteller. He
Yeah.
he brought us some of our favorite stories, uh, and the second chunk is over. And I've done this maybe can't remember which other one. I think it might have been Empire Strikes Back. So sorry for copying myself. But is the collaborative nature of this whole thing.
Lucas needs a collaborator.
That's that's why the prequels aren't as good.
Yep.
That's why, hey, I've got this idea for this Bond kind of guy,
Yeah.
and originally he worked on it with Philip Kaufman, then he put it back on his shelf and it gathered
Mm-hmm.
dust again,
Mm-hmm.
and then pitches it to his buddy Steven, who then
Mm-hmm.
brings Lawrence Kasdan. Uh, he gets Frank Marshall to produce.
Yep.
The cinematographer, I don't know a whole lot about this, but is Douglas Slocum, who I guess was like unbelievable. He
Okay.
brings his production designer, Norman Reynolds, who did Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They
I mean,
go
everything looks so pristine in this movie.
totally. It's like it's just it's got an incredible look. I mean, it won the Oscar, right?
Well, and you forgot about one other collaborator.
Oh no, I didn't. Oh, don't you worry, dude. So, and then they bring in their boy Johnny,
Yep.
and without Johnny, I mean, without Johnny, this movie is still really good. But
Well, yeah, we've talked about movies that John Williams brings up a letter grade, right?
yeah, Home
Home
Alone.
Alone, we talked about this, right? Like that's
Yep,
probably a C movie,
yep,
and he brings it up a one or two letter grades, just
yep,
John Williams being involved. This
yep,
is an A movie brought up to A
yeah.
plus by Johnny.
It's an A plus in every. Right. We talked about the only thing we could strike is like maybe she should have been a little bit more
More
not feeling
drunk,
great. More right. Like
not drunk
maybe
enough.
yeah, or like you could see the little spots that send out the spikes in
Yeah.
by the
Yep.
idol, So, but every one of those things George Lucas had a hand in.
Mm-hmm.
The
Right.
creating of the idea, and originally it was called Indiana Smith, and
Stupid.
duh, and Spielberg was like,
Yeah. Change that a little
and
bit.
yeah, so like just that right there, we're
Yep.
not talking about Indiana Smith,
Mm-mm.
right? And hey, I married a Smith, okay? I
Right.
love the Smiths,
You're into
but
Smiths.
totally.
No edit.
Yeah. um. Uh. And so I love Smith, obviously,
Yeah.
but Indiana Smith, it just doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
Right. Yep.
Indiana Jones is like, I mean, I was thinking of other great character names.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, James Bond is a great.
Oh yeah. Yep.
James Bond is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Star Lord.
Oh, come on.
No, that one's kind
I
of
mean,
dumb.
it is interesting about Marvel is that they try to do this, which is like Captain America's name is Steve. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yep.
Tony is
Is
Iron Man. Like
that's ironic, right?
I think so. I think what they try to do is say it's just regular people. Um Lucas and Spielberg picking Indiana Jones
Mm-hmm.
is something like it's a very unusual first name
Yep.
and the most regular last name.
Hmm.
And Smith didn't quite work. Jones works way better. And so you have this like every man, but he's extraordinary thing just in the name of this character.
Yep.
It's so good.
Just think about when Marion says it when he walks into the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Jones.
Perfect saying line reading of that name of
Yep.
any of the movies.
I
Indiana
mean,
Jones.
think about. I mean, he had Luke Starkiller. It's like, nope,
Yep. Nah.
change that.
Yep.
So it's just like when he's at his best,
Mm-hmm.
he is a creative, absolute creative visionary, brilliant,
Yep.
and then brings along the right collaborators. So vision plus collaboration are basically my two pieces of evidence.
Yeah. Amazing. I love it. Um, it's so hard to. I feel like I have a million things to say. Every time you say something, I feel like I have a million other things, and we just can't.
Well, I mean,
But I totally agree with you.
like Larry Kasdan,
Mm-hmm.
we were on a first name basis. He did The Big Chill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
you can hear that dialogue, like his wit and humor that he
Yeah.
brings to Marion in Indiana Jones. Like
Mm-hmm.
that like I no there is there's not humor in the Daniel Craig universe of Bond. But
No,
there was some
there's
campy
a
humor in the old Bond.
little tiny bit, but
Okay. Yeah, maybe
you
there is.
not like Indiana Jones at all.
Right. I mean, that could be another evidence is once again, Spielberg
Funny.
brings the funny.
It's funny. This movie's friggin' hilarious.
He brings the funny, and I think that's his buddy Larry.
Hey,
You
Larry.
know? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, and that the other one that I was going to just mention is could be a third piece of evidence is we mentioned this on the ET pod,
Mm.
but if there's no Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's no ET
Mm-hmm.
because once again, Harrison Ford was either dating or married to Mary Matheson,
Right.
and Spielberg and her got together and talked about this idea of ET
Mm-hmm.
on the set of
On the set
Raiders.
of
Then
this movie. Yeah.
she goes and writes it.
Yeah.
And,
And
like I
didn't
mean,
you say in the ET app that Harrison Ford was in the running for Keys for that role in
yeah,
ET?
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Well, we always that was the urban legend was that was Harrison Ford. You
Uh-huh.
know, like
Right.
when you only saw the keys.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That maybe that's Harrison's body the whole time.
Yup.
Yeah.
And you know, there's no Raiders, there's no ET. Then I probably don't play music. I mean, just
Listen, this is like the what is it? Butterfly effect. What
this
could
is
have been sliding doors thing happening
dude,
here?
I owe my musical career to that conversation that Lucas and Spielberg had on the beach in Hawaii. I mean, butterfly effect
Yep.
all the way back to there, dude.
Uh, love it. I mean,
Johnny, I love you.
it's so great. It obviously culturally important, also important to us individually. Um, I want to come back at some point to talk about the genius of Lucas because I do think he gets crap. I think you said it well here. It's the collaboration of him that
Mm-hmm.
have you seen Steve Jobs, that movie?
I did.
Okay. Steve Jobs, sometimes he and George Lucas are in the same conversation, right? Like these visionaries
Yep.
where sometimes you're like, why are you famous? You don't do anything. Steve
Mm-hmm.
Jobs in particular was like that. He was just the ideas guy and
Yep.
everybody else did the work.
He
But
was the
there's
marketing
no,
and ideas. Yep.
yeah, the world we are living in is because of the ideas that Steve Jobs had. Total
Yep.
a-hole. You know what I mean? Like the
Total
way
a
he
hole,
treated
like
people. Oh my
tyrant. I
gosh.
mean, like you're gonna friggin' make the iPhone, right? Like, didn't he
Yeah.
just drive the people insane
Oh yeah.
for 2 years
He didn't
straight of
understand how things wouldn't work
right?
if he wanted them to work. Um,
Yep.
he's such a different guy than Lucas because I do think Lucas, the secret sauce for him is he figured out, okay, I'm better when I work with other people and I'm nice to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Steve Jobs never learned that and died, but still, high vision people
Mm-hmm.
kind of make the world what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas is one of those people, and Indiana Jones is one of his major creations that have
Yep.
kind of changed everything.
Totally. And I feel like the way that he and Steven Spielberg
Mm-hmm.
trust
Mm.
and like I dare I say there's some humility there
Mm.
where Lucas gave him this idea and was like run with it and he got to be
Yeah,
like on the set, but Spielberg got the credit for a ton of this and it didn't seem like Lucas cared about that at all. He's like, it's awesome, I got to make a sweet movie with my friend.
I think you're right. I think he is the producer of this movie, and he's very satisfied with that.
Yup.
And I think he gets a story by
Yeah, I think so.
credit.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so like it's just those that we talked about this. I don't know when, but just that trifecta of Lucas, Spielberg, Williams in particular is makes this movie so perfect. Can I just tell you my um my number one goosebumps moment in this movie and maybe top, it's up there with Iron Giant saying Superman for me,
Mm,
is at the very end of that final set piece. People's faces have melted off in this glorious stop motion.
Yep.
Lightning's going everywhere. Everybody's dying. It's this cacophony. I don't even know if there's a score.
I don't think so. Yeah,
It's
it's just
just
like
this
wind and
howl. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That just like
Yep.
howl for probably 3-4 minutes. You
Yep.
get a wide shot of the island.
Mm-hmm.
I'm covered in goosebumps right now. And God slams it shut.
Yeah.
And there's just this
The
echo.
yeah.
And and into this moment of silence. And it is just this incredible piece of filmmaking
Mm.
where everything comes together, and it closes that movie. And then
Oh, here
there
we go.
is
This is
this
my goosebump. That's what
incredible
I was gonna say.
postlude.
Yep. Oh, this postlude, dude. Like the biggest warehouse in the history of the world, dude.
So I dare I say I wouldn't be a movie fan or a writer without this postlude for me. The
Dang.
the way the universe is opened up in this in it's the credits. The
Yep.
credits roll over
Yep.
that image where I'm like, there's no other more perfect way this movie could have ended, which is this sort of stuff happens all the time, I guess. And we have an
Yeah,
entire warehouse where this is just one of the boxes.
yep. It's like it's we top people are working on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
but it's just it's a area 51 sort of idea,
Right. And
right?
so there's
Like
a couple ways to read that final scene. I like both of them, which one is that this is their way of hiding it,
okay.
which is just in a bunch of boxes. The other way of reading it, which didn't get revealed that it is true until Crystal Skull, which is this is an entire warehouse that the government has full of things like the Lost Ark.
Yeah. How many even things are there like that? We could only come up
I
with
don't
two.
know. Well, there's a crystal skull. That's one of them, and we find that
Oh,
out in the
right.
opening scene of that movie. But I
Right.
always thought that's what it was saying, which is like this is not just a one time this happened, but this is a universe, a
Mm-hmm.
fantasy universe you're invited
Mm.
into,
Yep.
which is there's something inside of each one of these boxes, and it blew my mind when I was a little kid.
Dang. Is that is that warehouse like a metaphor for George Lucas's brain?
That's I like that. Yep,
You
that's how
know,
many
like
ideas he has.
that's what his brain looks like, but you only have so much time.
Yeah,
You know,
and then the theme comes over it. You know what I mean? The Indiana
yeah.
Jones theme comes over it in the credits, and they kind of hold on that guy rolling that kind of rickety dolly with the with the arc on it. They hold on him for a while until they fade out. It is just really
Yep.
lets you take it all in and say, what a friggin' blast that movie was.
Yep. It the Raiders March
Mm-hmm.
is top John Williams.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, it's his name, right? Indiana. Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. The right amount
Uh
of syllables.
it I mean, just like Superman. Da, 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 right? Like I wonder if J Dubs thought of that.
Star Wars talking
Thinking
about
about Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
But so I remember seeing a like Spielberg Williams collaboration video,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote two leitmotifs for Indiana,
Mm.
and it was da 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 dun da da, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrote also dun da 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 da
Dun,
da
da, da, ga,
da.
dee. Mm-hmm.
And Spielberg said, "Why can't you use them both?"
I wonder if John Williams at that point was saying, I can't use them both. I need this other one for another movie I'm going to do someday.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he just,
He's like, I give you 5. Steven, you're gonna ask me in 6 months for another one, and I need to save some of these.
That's what I would have been thinking. These are gold. I'm not gonna use them both on one movie.
Yeah, I think the Raiders March. I mean, there's
Mhm.
the B section where you
Mm.
bring in Marion's theme. I mean,
Yeah. Wait,
it
I
is
was thinking Star Wars just then. What is the
dee da da dee da da
Mm,
dee. There's a triplet, but I
love
mean,
it.
that theme is so good.
His
Oh my
lady themes
gosh.
are just the best. Leia, Marion, you can't beat
Dude.
them. Ray.
Yep. I mean, actually, as we were leaving the concert last night,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Aaron,
Yep.
he said, "What was your favorite piece to play today?"
Mm,
And I was like, "Across the Stars" from episode 2.
okay.
It's that is a that so we don't love the way they developed episode 2. Totally Torber.
Is that the romance theme from episode 2?
Yep.
Okay.
Dee dom, dee da 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 da, dee da da dee da da da.
Oh boy, that's
Like,
good. Oh boy,
it's so
that's good.
good.
Wow.
That it's like an original. Like, that's unlike pretty much anything you've heard John Williams do at that point. And remember,
Mm,
Lucas and Williams were like, we've never actually had a great love theme in the Star Wars universe.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so,
That plays over the wedding into the credits, right? Of the end of episode 2. Da
yep.
dee da dee 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 da. Wump da dum da dum da 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 dee da da dee.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Listener, it's up to you. Is this not only great, but what we think perfect? There's a lot of ways to vote. The best way is on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at 2Gomers, and you'll get access to the poll that Annie is going to put up by the end of the month. And then we're going to come back with results. Thank you to our webmaster, Adam, Jason for our graphics, Davis for our music, aforementioned Annie for our social media. We are coming back with some more Indiana Jones material because Dial of Destiny comes out at the end of June, which is the month you're listening to this in right now. And our 6.2 episode is going to be Indy sequel battle
Mm,
once we've seen Dial of Destiny. We're
got
going to
it.
pick the best Indiana Jones sequel. Oh boy.
Sweet.
Oh, okay. And we're gonna come back with the results and talk about all the things that we forgot, like that the way that it opens on the Paramount Mountain, and I'm wondering what
Ugh.
they're gonna do in Dial of Destiny. What the heck?
I wish we could see it together, dude. I just got an email from
Mm,
Fandango or whatever that was like, "Would you like to buy your tickets for Indiana
mm-hmm.
Jones?" I mean, it's coming, dude.
It's coming soon
And
at
I
the end
did
of
you see
June.
that Spielberg interview
Mm-mm.
where after he saw it,
Yeah,
he was like, he said he was sad in one sense, and he said, "I thought I was the only person that could make an Indiana Jones movie."
that's good news. That's great
That's
news.
really
That
good
means it's
news.
good.
Yep.
I mean, they've played it at the Cannes Film Festival, and it got something like a 7-minute standing ovation or something like that. People love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So it's good news for us.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be
Maybe
good.
the best way to make a sequel,
Mm.
i.e., Raiders, i.e., Pick a Destiny. Just
Uh-huh.
kidding, Dial of Destiny
Pick
is
a Destiny. I didn't think of that.
it, that's like the first thing I thought.
That's hilarious.
Tenacious D
Yep.
is
Jack
to
Black's in this one.
make a bad one.
Yeah, maybe so. Right? That's why Force Awakens was one of the top theater experiences of my life.
Yep.
Because I was like, they redeemed it.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Next movie, next month's movie is Speed, the aforementioned
Oh,
Speed.
baby.
We wanted to do kind of a solid summer movie. And
Also, is
because we
this
did
like Summer of Hunks?
give me more. We are gonna do Jaws as a summer movie one day, but we couldn't do
Oh,
Raiders and
baby.
then Jaws.
Yeah. No, can't.
So Speed, solid 90s Keanu, and Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
The indie.
I was gonna say, has he ever been in an action movie? There we go.
Yes. Sweet.
All right, dude. Great app.
So fun, man.
And happy watching Speed.
Nice. All right, let's stop that. 1, 2, 3, stop. Save.
That's a big
All right, let's do some to-dos, dude.
Okay.
I'm gonna bounce this, and Erin just got home. I'm just gonna go say hey to her real quick.
Okay, great. I'll bounce mine then too.
Okay.
Okay, bye everybody.
Oh, bye everybody.
Oops, I didn't stop it yet. Dang it.